What's going on YouTube? Mark AT here. We got something a little different this time, and that's a review of a now released game, Clark County. I'm going to show you some various footage of the mechanics of the game while also voicing over some of this. Without further ado, here we are. So a lot of you are already familiar with Clark County, but if you're not, a little overview. Time is 1999, in which Lander was officially given to Clark County from New Haven. Unrest is now in play due to mass resignations and unstableness among the government. Now that we've briefly touched on some of the history, let's dive into some of the problems that RoStates often faced. Firstly, the creation of so many RoStates has contributed to split communities, creating division among them. Secondly, failure from an ownership point of view that hasn't provided transparency and regular updates to keep the game fresh. Sometimes updates are also falsely promised but never delivered. For example, a civilian job that was promised in other games that never came. You might ask, what makes this game different? Well, I'm glad to say there are a couple of huge advantages from Clark. Firstly, the implementation of civilian jobs that we'll see in a second, and an overall fresh redesign of the map is a huge plus. In other RoStates, this is promised, but never actually sees the light of day. We all love New Haven's map, but it's time to see something different, and that is what Clark is able to deliver us. One of the most important mechanics is driving, and that's hugely improved for Clark. We can see the various vehicles, and one initial shocker is the pricing. We can see that the economy is different from other typical county games, and I like this. It forces us to earn money, and you can do that with the game's many different career paths. Looking at a used third motor Crusader, we can see that they've redesigned with an emphasis on a classic feel, since we are in the early 2000s. The controls are largely the same with a couple of new features. For one, shifting means something, so if you're not in the right gear, you won't produce power. Secondly, there's a start and stop feature, so if you leave your car on, you will burn fuel. This largely contributes to the overall feel that the developers aim to produce, a feature-driven game that expands on the basis from New Haven County. I can honestly say it helps the overall immersion feel. Now, before you begin to press charges, from what you can see here is from an alternative account. The second most important mechanic to me while I conducted the grading is fighting. This could include fist or overall shooting mechanics. Something that everyone has access to is fists, in which you can punch others, which is displayed by an animation. The first person couldn't take the heat, but I was able to get into a street fight with others. This is something that you just would not see in any other New Haven style game, so again, this is a huge win. Something other than firearms is bound to get more interest. Additionally, you can see that I got ragdolls when I got hit by a vehicle. I don't know about you, but this just adds to the overall feel of the game. Before somebody hit you, you might just get flung, but not in a realistic way such as this. Here we can get another taste of the tasing and cuffing mechanics. And not much has changed here, but it works here, so why not? I'd also like to mention the environment in this particular circumstance. You can see that it's raining, pouring, and when the vehicles drive, you can see the wheels kicking up rain. This leads us to our second section, civilian jobs. Here at the Q-Mart, you can work for 3 minutes, in which you take boxes from the back and place them on the shelves. From when I did this, it seemed quite buggy, so I was unsure if I was actually doing it correctly. I'm glad that this is implemented anyways, and bug fixes are being brought out daily, so I'm sure this will be patched out. There are a couple of other jobs too that you can apply for, like the Port Authority or even drive a forklift. Make sure you get that forklift certification. You can also see here that there's a commercial driving license as well as a fishing license. I haven't tested those out, but I'm pretty sure that they work in a similar way as the job here at Cube is. One thing that they should implement is a stock feature, so if nobody's working, the stock is low and therefore no product is available. To save you from 3 minutes of bugginess, I earned $69, which isn't the best, but I couldn't even tell if my boxes were being counted correctly, so I'll take it. As I previously mentioned, you can pick up a fishing and a CDL license here from the Cube for $50. I'm not too sure how you would acquire a CDL from a general store. So in the future, I would like to see a feature potentially see a DMV where you could also get a regular driver's license from. Just a suggestion. Here's another showcase of the weapon's tools. Unfortunately, I do not have sound of it, as that's my mistake, but the sound sounded accurate and not too distorted. Another new thing that was not in previous remakes is a pepper spray option that will turn your screen various levels of orange depending on how much you were sprayed. Otherwise, the mechanics here are good and accurate. However, I would like to see the tool belt expanded upon, as it can be provided for some nice new updates. Maybe an RPG one day so you can rocket vehicles. However, it should be restricted on how many times you could get one, or a dealer that moves across the map to prevent it from being in too many hands. This could definitely be worrisome and troublesome, but I think that if it can be balanced properly, that would provide a nice new feature and something that would definitely create some cool montage videos. Overall, these next few seconds are just going to be presenting more of the tools, mechanics, and being arrested, being placed in a vehicle. But other than that, I think that is about it with the tools. While we wrap this up with the tools, let me know what you guys are thinking about Clark County. Are you guys going to be playing it, or just considering it, or just shortlisting it? What are you guys thinking about this community and about what the features they bring to the table are over in other, New Haven County? One last thing here with the baton here, I think it's supposed to ragdoll you, but here it just damages me, so I'm not sure if that's something that's being worked on. In conclusion, my grading scale consists of 3 options: don't play, consider, or play, and the subcategory are 4 main features: driving, fighting, civilian jobs, and community. Each present 5 points for a total of 20 points. For driving, I will give it a 4.5 out of 5, as we touched on some of the new driving mechanics and vehicle design. Fighting is completely reworked, which creates more scenario-based fighting, so I'll give this another 4.5 out of 5. Civilian jobs are actually present in this game, and I'm thoroughly impressed with the dedication to non-government jobs. Full points here, 5 out of 5. Lastly, we have community. Although RoStates do not always have a positive outlook, this game just opened, so I feel over time this community can be improved and provide for less toxic behavior. 3.5 out of 5 here. This means an overall grade of 17.5 out of 20, meaning I recommend you play this game and explore all the great new things it has to offer. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you try Clark County out. Thank you. Peace.